And welcome everybody to the Friday edition of Just Parlays. I'm your co-host Scott Reichel, and joining me, since this is a parlay show, is of course Chris King. Wait a second, that's not
What?
Chris King. Who the hell are you? How's it going? It's Scott Steen, everybody. What's up?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. It's nice to have you. Just to fill everybody in, Chris was having some technical difficulties, so I called in a ringer, and I ended up asking Scott to fill in. Luckily, I know he's been very busy, but he found the time to squeeze me into his busy schedule. Scott, thanks for coming on the show earlier this week, but how have you been?
I've been good, man. Been working hard on the project. Everything's cool, and I'm excited to do no parlays today.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time of just parlays with no parlays. It's going to be a very interesting show, but how has the project been going? I know you can't exactly tell us everything, but maybe a little bit of a preview trailer coming to a theater near you.
Well, right now we're working on some sketches, and this is going to be a show that kind of features a round table, but it's going to have some humorous sketches. There's kind of a storyline that goes along with it. So right now we're trying to write all the evergreen sketches we can just to have them ready to go, because it's like a 2.5 day turnaround from the time the games are over to the time we'll have it posted. So basically, my partner and I are in the middle of writing an entire season of Saturday Night Live with two guys in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it's a challenge, but it's a blast. It's a nice opportunity to use the other side of my brain, the left side, the creative side. So I'm having a blast, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope everybody likes it.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm sure all the viewers are as well. But as for the actual, formatting of this show, how does it feel that I'm doing the introductions now? How does that feel?
It's nice. It takes all the pressure off, man. I just have to sit here and yak. It's excellent. I don't have to worry about hitting marks or getting intros started, making sure I end it on time. It's fantastic. I'm in the rocking chair, if you will.
So you're telling me that you hit the marks? I thought those were like suggestions. Like I could kind of negotiate my way around it. But
the hardest part of your job is getting Chris out of there. And you guys are you're just ripping through it. It was always a struggle trying to end the show within an hour. So I know you guys are doing a little shorter than that. And perhaps me not telling stories for 10 or 15 minutes makes a difference. I don't know.
I think the secret that I have is I don't have as many stories that you have. So
Right.
it kind of really just makes the show go quicker. But I know originally when I started, we were trying to get it to around 40. I don't think that's possible.
Right.
So we're going to settle for like 55. But if it ends with two numbers in the minute section, I'm good with that.
Yep, there you go.
Anywhere below an hour, I think we're fine. But I was going to ask you in general, since you're still, of course, doing premium plays and your free play, how's your betting week been? How was yesterday?
Well, I'll tell you what, on the premium side, yesterday was a absolute train wreck. My free plays have been killing it. I had Colorado yesterday at plus 225. I know that number went
Fade
up.
Musgrove. Terrible.
Yeah, he's not been good lately, man. He had a +6 ERA over his last 6 starts, I want to say. And yeah, it worked out. We needed a couple things to happen. We needed Musgrove. We needed him to get to him early. We needed to have a lead so they could survive the horrible Colorado pen, and we needed 6 innings out of
Freeland.
Yeah.
Freeland has actually been pretty good against San Diego in Petco in the past.
Yeah, and he's been really good on the road. He's one of those guys that really it gets in his head to be at Coors Field, but on the road he's been fantastic. So all those things came together. He went almost 6. He went 5 2/3.
Good enough.
Bullpen only gave up 1 run, and Bob's your uncle. There's a 225 winner. So
I ended up just backing Verlander. I took the first 5 against Plesac at -0.5. Yeah, Verlander's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good
at all.
Yeah,
good to see some folks in the comment section. Andrew checking in. James S. with his patented yo. Robert Dixon, a little throwback to Bet the Farm times. If we'd had a little more time to plan this, we could have done a Bet the Farm.
I really reached out to him like 15 minutes ago, and he filled in. So we didn't exactly have time to fully coordinate, but I was going to be up here solo, and then I thought, let me bother Steen and ruin his day. So
you didn't ruin my deed, and I had to do a bunch of stuff. I had to do my Clar picks this morning. Of course, I had to get the premiums out and all that. I was going to just have a nice, relaxing breakfast, make myself a big breakfast. and you hollered at me like, "Well, looks like it's going to be an egg sandwich." So
Yeah. I don't feel bad about ruining your breakfast when it's 1 p.m. local time for you. So
I understand. I'm a busy man.
yeah.
Man. So
Well, I was going to ask though. Just usually when of course I'm doing the show with Chris, we talk about kind of what happened yesterday. I talked to you about your betting plays. I got to ask you the important question: did
now,
you watch any of the football game yesterday?
well, I had a play on that, so I watched it till I was beat, which
You had
was
the under, I'm guessing.
no, I wouldn't. No, I wanted no part of 30.
Yeah.
I had I had Jacksonville.
Okay.
I thought they'd make a little better showing of it, and lo and behold, they are in midseason form. They were just absolutely atrocious. First team, second team, third team. The guys that are going to be working at Wendy's in a month, they were just all just horrific and outplayed by the Raiders all night long. So,
did it surprise you at all that Josh Jacobs started the game for the Raiders?
Yes, it surprised me that he started, and it surprised me that he got that many carries. What did he get? 5, 6 carries, probably
Something like that. But he came out for multiple series. It wasn't just a couple snaps. So it definitely seems like Jacobs is in the doghouse of the new coaching staff. Can we say that? Because I don't think I've ever seen a starting running back for several years start the Hall of Fame game. That's something that's unprecedented.
And Amir Abdullah was really good as well. So I thought he did a nice job. Yeah. So it was.
I didn't watch any of the game yesterday.
I watched about a quarter and a half. I watched because it was rain delay or lightning delay, of course. I literally checked back on. I wonder what the game's doing. I caught the opening kickoff, and see, just like old times.
Good times.
But yeah, it's I can only say that my NFL season will get better. And we've been really good in the preseason the last 3 or 4 years. So we'll see what we got there.
Yeah, it's still early. I know that a lot of people, including myself, are leaning to the under. I felt a lot better about it when it was like 32.5 earlier in the week or 33. And when it got to 30, I reached the point of, well, you kind of missed the boat on that one. I'm not going to really take it, but I still lean that way. And, well, the Jaguars did their part because they had 3 points for about the first 3.5 quarters. And the Raiders were just very good in the first half. They led 20-0. Jaguars kept turning it over. And, yeah, they made Jared Stidham look good. So that kind of is all that has to be said, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely true. I hope the preseason games get a little better. That's always a weird game when you've been to training camp about 10 days and you go play in the high school field at Canton, and it's just kind of a bizarre game. But
yeah, it also seemed like the Raiders actually cared about the game to some degree, and that's something you don't see that often. I don't want to say they have a coach's truce before the game, but usually for the Hall of Fame game, you're calling what, like 80% handoffs?
Yeah, it's you just don't want to get anybody hurt. You certainly don't want to get your quarterbacks hurt, even though they're not the first stringers. You don't want to have them dropping back more than they need to. And the Raiders, they didn't really need to. They could have literally run the ball on every play, and it would have been fine. It's perfect timing. The maintenance crew here has decided this would be the great time to rake the mulch right outside my window.
They thought that you were done for the day on video,
Yes.
so it's kind of my fault that I dragged you out. But I think the one bright side for Jacksonville was that Walker looked good.
Yeah, he did.
So
he did. He got him a sack and everything, and
he had a roughing the passer penalty on the first snap of the game, which I'm not even sure was roughing the passer. So he'll fit right in with the rest of the league.
Referees in midseason form as well. So I'll just say that I think football is going to get better. Now, who did you guys? I didn't watch your show on the break when you broke down the AFC West. Who did you like there?
For the AFC West, well, we didn't actually do NFL division breakdowns yet. We kind of just addressed some questions. I think it was Bronco. Actually, I'm sure it was Bronco because, of course, he wanted to know about the AFC West. He was asking about who he liked in the division and everybody like that. I found it very, very tricky, but for me, it was between the Chargers and the Broncos. I know you're going to hate hearing that. I think Staley's going to sabotage a couple of games by himself because of the fourth down nonsense, but on paper, I think the Chargers are the best team. The Broncos, I think, are good, but you lose. Of course, they lost Von Miller, and I'm not exactly sure if I'm sold on the defensive line, along with the weapons on the outside. They have some good receivers, but Patrick's now out for the year with the ACL injury.
I think that hurts.
That really does hurt because Sutton's a guy who I kind of like, but he was I know he came off the ACL, but he was a bit underwhelming last year. Judy's been a lost cause since he came into the league. I'm not sure if I'm sold on their weapons. So I think I'm going to go with the Chargers just because on paper, I do think that team is really loaded. But if they lose a bunch of winnable games because they go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 20, I'm not going to be totally surprised. I'm assuming you like the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be the best, you got to beat the best, and it's hard to go against a team that's lost, I think, 2 division games in the last 5 seasons.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, Denver's better than the Chiefs, the Chargers are better than the Chiefs. Yeah, okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm going to lean to the Chargers. I know we disagreed a little bit about the Chiefs win total when you were in the comment section a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I'm just looking at the Chiefs roster, and I know Mahomes is great. I know that Kelsey, of course, is great, and the defense is streaky.
On the field when the offense isn't?
I was going to say streaky at times, if we're going to say that. I mean, they lost a couple of key pieces, but either way, the point is I looked at the overall offseason for the Chiefs, and I get that you have to kind of shed some cap because you're paying Mahomes a ton of money. I just didn't really think they had a great offseason by any means, and I'm a little bit concerned by the amount of talent they lost.
It is so frustrating to live in Kansas City where the Chiefs have such a good GM. I mean, how good does that Mahomes signing look now? Now that we've seen what some other quarterbacks.
Well, what is he officially getting paid per year?
Well, it averages out to 40.
Okay.
And
it's not that bad.
And I know maybe 250 of it was guaranteed. They gave him, they gave him a shit ton of guaranteed money. But
it's better than the Deshaun Watson guarantee.
What are we doing here? What are we doing with Deshaun Watson, man? I don't understand that.
You're talking about us as fans, or are you talking about the actual organization that paid him a bunch of money when he might not be able to play for the entire season?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Browns. I'm talking about the Browns. I think they really wanted to move away from Baker, which I don't completely understand. He played hurt last year. The kid's a gamer. He went out and gave it everything he had every week. Probably a couple of weeks he started, he shouldn't have been playing. And yeah, they just tossed him to the side like a used Coke cup. So I think they pulled the trigger a little too soon on Deshaun Watson. I'm sure they were feeling vindicated when he got a 6-game suspension. But
the NFL is just going to boost it. They're going to have a lawsuit. So
with the NFL appealing that and then going to boost it, it's going to get decided in court. What's your over under on how many games Watson is eligible to play this year?
This year is tricky because if there's a massive appeal going on, he could play during the appeal. So that's why you can make an argument that the NFL is pursuing a year, which you can argue makes sense based on the allegations. But by doing so, in the short term, you're going to cause an even bigger outrage because Watson's going to be able to play week 1 and everyone's going to lose their damn minds. So, yeah. That's the tricky part. It's kind of it's a lose-lose, isn't it?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that he can play while under appeal instead of being suspended for the first 6 games. Because, I guess the argument there is, well, maybe the NFL wanted a lesser punishment. Maybe they only wanted to give 2 games, so we'll just let him play. I don't know, man. It's a hard question for me because he hasn't been found legally liable for anything, but yet he's paid off 22 of the 23 women. I don't want to say to keep them quiet, but certainly to make the charges go away.
I'm not sure who provided the NDAs this time because it used to be the Texans for the massage, but for the actual settling, I don't know who provided the NDAs. I'm assuming it was not the Texans.
No, I'm assuming it was not. And that's the thing. It's kind of one of those situations where you say, well, on one hand, what he is alleged to have done is horrific. There should be some repercussions from all that. But I kind of look at it like the Michael Vick dogfighting thing. You're like, well, he's out of prison. He did his time. He paid his price, but he can't play in the NFL. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If that's your job, if that's your chosen profession and what you're skilled at, I don't know how you can say, well, Michael Vick paid the price, but he can't be a quarterback. He could work in an office somewhere. He could sell cars, but he can't be a quarterback. And I think it's the same thing with Watson. Either he's in legal jeopardy or he isn't. And this kind of limbo thing where there's all these charges floating above his head. I'm not sure how actionable it is. It'll be interesting to see how this case plays out.
For me, I think he deserves more than 6. I think he probably deserves either 12 or a full year. And you could argue, legally speaking, he didn't do anything because of the fact that there are no official charges that he's currently dealing with because it seems like he's settling with everybody. And, of course, they went to a grand jury and that whole thing happened. But the point is, I feel like he deserves more than 6 because they gave Elliott 6 games. They gave a bunch of other people several other 6-game whatever, and the charges that they were facing were usually one party, and this is from 23 different parties.
Well, they gave out a year last year for betting what $100 on a parlay.
Yeah, for Calvin Ridley. But I'm saying if you want to go solely based on either domestic violence or sexual assault or something of that nature, usually the punishment was 6 games, and the rap sheet that Watson's dealing with is significantly longer than the rap sheet these other guys who got 6 games previously were dealing with. So I'd probably give Watson like 12, just based on comparing. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a circus. I think Watson actually will play week 1 because of the appeal process. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But I know that there are a lot of people who want to talk about the games today. It's pretty much only baseball, even though the Premier League in soccer does officially start. So we do have some action on the pitch if you do like following soccer. But to go through the baseball card, any plays jump off the page to you? Any lines that you find a little bit questionable?
Yeah, I was kind of looking at, I think there might be some sneaky value on the Royals with Greinke on the mound. Greinke's been outstanding at home and an absolute train wreck on the road.
How about Bubic, by the way? Turning around? Question mark?
No, don't even try to get me into that trap. You're trying to get me to say, I really like this core of Royals pitchers, and then one of them's going to go out there and shit the bed over the weekend.
Well, it was actually funny though, because I mentioned this on the show yesterday. I was supposed to do Total Chaos, and then something happened. I'm not going to get into it, but either way, show got canceled. Hint, hint to my co-host for the day over here. But I had some lines prepared, and one of them was the Royals-Red Sox game with Pivetta and Bubic. I actually leaned to a contrarian under in that game, even though Pivetta sucks. I'm aware of that. But Bubic was pretty good, and I dared the Royals offense to do something. But no, Bubic for the last month has actually been serviceable.
Yeah, absolutely correct. You got a big series with the Yankees and the Cardinals. Is that going to be a World Series preview, my friend?
No. No. I mean, it's really weird how I'm still listening or seeing power rankings on Twitter, and they're going, well, Yankees easily number 1. I'm like, are we watching the same team? Like, this Yankees team's been so mediocre for the last month. Like, no, they should not be the favorites. I think they should be the favorites to win the American League. I think Houston's going to beat them in a 7-game series. You?
We'll see
as of right now.
We'll see what the pitching staffs look like. But if they're based on current form, you can certainly make that case. I think the Yankees go into that series, minus 130, minus 120.
I think they'll be favored. I think that there's value on the Astros, but you could argue that if the Astros get home field, which they probably should because of the divisions that they play in, I think Houston should probably close minus 120. At least that's the line I would make it, minus 120, minus 125.
Right.
But I don't know who in the Yankees rotation you actually like, because Cortez has been good lately, but Cole's been a disaster, at least for the contract. Tyone's been a mess. Herman's been a mess. Montes hasn't pitched for the Yankees yet because he was on bereavement leave. But there's a lot of question marks with that rotation. And the Astros have been just chugging along.
Somebody asking about the Orioles game tonight, getting 8.5 on the total. Dean Kramer was a really solid guy to back for a lot of the season, but he has really fallen off the rails lately. Meanwhile, Mitch Keller, who? That's right, Mitch Keller, giving up 1 or less in 3 of his last 4. Can Kramer turn it around? Because he's been dreadful over his last 3 starts. What is he? 13 and 2/3, giving up 13 earned runs. Can he right the ship there, my friend?
Well, as my play of the day, I have the Pirates team total over 3.5. So, no. But the way that I see it, I think it's a very low number. And Pittsburgh, I'm not saying they're a good offensive team. They woke up to some degree as they swept the Brewers. They scored 5+ runs in each of those 3. But Kramer's recent numbers have been atrocious. And I unfortunately backed him last Saturday, and he got absolutely shelled by the Reds. And the Reds were in the middle of a fire sale, and he still got shelled. But at the end of the day, I think there's value on Pittsburgh to go over, especially with the 9 guaranteed at bats. But the wind's blowing out, and Kramer's been a mess. And the Orioles bullpen, we know, has been good all season long. But I mentioned it in my free pick video, they got rid of Lopez. They don't really have a closer. So I think there are question marks now about Baltimore's bullpen, but it's mostly involving Kramer. I just don't feel great about hoping for a low-scoring game when one pitcher has given up 3+ runs in 4 of his last 5 starts.
Well, and he's been giving up home runs. Those last 3 starts at 13 and third inning or 13 and 2 that we talked about, he's given up 4 home runs, and that's when you're giving up 2 home runs per 9, that ain't good.
And the wind's blowing out like
Yep.
8 miles per hour to center today, so you might see a couple of home runs, but 3.5 on principle fading a struggling pitcher I thought was just way too low.
Yeah, I think with the uncertainty involved with Kramer, I'd much rather play a team total like you have versus the full total.
Yeah.
I just, the Pirates, they could put up 4, they could put up 7, and that's going to pretty much screw your total. What was the other one they asking about? Oh, the Detroit game. Well, just because it's Detroit, I'm leaning under, but let me see what the matchup actually is here.
I don't remember if it was 8 or 8.5 yesterday, but I know that the Rays game looked like it was headed way over, and then the game died, and I believe it either pushed or went under, I think.
Yeah, it was 6-2. I've got it officially. This is a push. You might have been
Okay.
some 8.5 out there somewhere, but this Detroit. We talked a little bit about when I did Morning Wood the other day with Lenny and Allie, and we talked a little bit about this Detroit offense. It is just horrific, and they are. I know they're at home here, but man, if when you see Detroit on the road, they average right at 2 runs a game on the road. So it's hard. It's hard not to fade the Tigers and play the under when they're away.
They're 23 under 500, and they're only 3 under at home. So you
Yikes.
can connect the dots on the road.
Yikes! So Kluber's not been good. He's given up 4 in his last 3 starts. Does cover 17 innings, so it's Kluber. He's going to go out there and grind. He's like James Shields. He may give up 4 or 5 runs, but he's going to get you that 7 innings. Is there any value in this game as we look at the total of 8, and Tampa Bay is a prohibitive favorite? You see any kind of a dog play here with Garcia on the mound for the Tigers?
I guess if you want to make a dog play, you could go for a first 5 angle if you really just want to fade Kluber. I think you could make an argument maybe for a team total if you really just want to cut one of the pitchers out of the equation. Yeah. Kluber's been awful, but you can find the Tigers team total at what, like 2.5 juice?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad.
No.
I mean, the Tigers I know aren't exactly good at hitting, but I'm trying to find an angle here with profit. I don't enjoy laying 210 with a Tampa team that can't really hit either. So I'm kind of trying to stay away from that one, but it's really tough to find value there. I know that looking through the comment section, Don's been a big fan of unders. So my favorite under on the card today is actually the Yankees game against the Cardinals. It's at 8.5. I think that total is way too high. Cortez has been amazing for the last couple of starts, and after a little bit of a shaky end of June, early July, it seems like he's finally picked it back up again, and he's been the Yankees' best starting pitcher for the last couple of weeks. Now, Hudson is not a great pitcher by any means. His numbers overall this season are mediocre, but at home, 2.98 ERA, yep. So he's been pretty good. And the Yankees offensively, I know they hit a lot of home runs, but they're hitting pretty poorly with runners in scoring position lately. But you got Cortez on one side. The Yankees offense still missing Stanton. He should be back sometime next week. But does 8.5 seem a little bit high to you? Because I was looking at that line, I figured it would be maybe a flat 8.
Yeah, I agree. I thought 8.5 was a little strong in that one. And Hudson, for all of his failings, giving up home runs really isn't one of them. He's been really, really good lately. As he's given up just 2 home runs over his last 26 innings. So that's outstanding. That's where the Yankees are going to beat you. They're not really a keep the line moving kind of team. They're more of an Earl Weaver
Moneyball original.
The 3-run homer is what I'm saying there. So yeah, I'm with you on the totals. I worry about the bullpen for both of these teams being able to get the job done. But if you want to play first 5 under, I think that's maybe even a little better play, but I do like the full game under 8.5 as well. And
I think I'm more concerned with St. Louis's bullpen for this game because they did have a doubleheader yesterday, so they had to burn through a lot of guys. The Yankees bullpen's been iffy a bit lately, but they did have a day off, so everyone is available. So you do have that in your back pocket. Right. But either way, point is, I'm still leaning under 8.5. You mentioned the Hudson ability to limit home runs. That's really all the Yankees do well over the last couple of weeks, and I like Cortez on the mound, so I think 8.5 is a little bit too high.
Yep, Cortez does not give up homers either. He hasn't given up a home run in his last 3 starts. That covers 18 innings. So yeah, you're gonna have to earn them the old-fashioned way, and I'm with you. I don't think they get the 9 in this one.
Yeah, but as for the rest of the card, trying to see if there's any underdogs that I technically like.
Do you
I
like
got
it?
Bill. Yeah,
Is there any parlays you want to put together? Do you want to put together a 2-teamer just to keep with the name of the show? Is there anything that grabs you?
well, it's just parlays, but Chris is not on the show this week, so or today, so we can kind of just do our own thing, right?
What are they doing with Chris? They cut his power.
Yeah, they cut his power. They're doing some type of maintenance on the street or something, and they said his power should be back in like, I don't know, 3 hours. So I'm like, all right, that's great. I'm like, sorry to hear that. Whatever.
That dude, if it weren't for bad luck, he would have no luck.
Yep.
He's not running hot, as the kids say.
If you want an actual player prop, I know that Chris likes to throw in some player props in his shot in the dark parlay. Gleyber Torres to not record a hit today is plus 185. He is 0 for his last 18. Plus 185.
Seems like some value there.
So Absolutely. Just throwing that out there.
And I want to apologize to anyone that's followed me for officially killing Robbie Ray. I started to notice and put into play the fact that he'd been very good. And basically, we got one nice performance out of him, and then he absolutely fell off the fucking side of the cliff. So
he has the Cy Young trophy, though. We always have powers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. 10 earned runs over his last 2 starts, encompassing 5 2/3 innings. Patrick Sandoval, not a guy I really want to go to war with, but is there value there taking the Angels as a pretty good underdog there against Robbie Ray? Should Seattle with Robbie Ray on the mound be minus 185 against anybody? You
can argue that the Angels just invent ways to lose because they hit 7 home runs yesterday and lost the damn game, which is almost impossible.
Did Elias have any interesting facts about that? Is that the first time that's ever happened? Or how many?
If that has happened before, I'd be shocked. 7 home runs all solo, you still lose the game. That's actually impossible.
You are not good, Angels. Not good at all.
Don, for your parlay, I'd say I'm out just because I don't feel overly confident about the wind blowing out and backing an under with Keller and Kramer. And the Tigers game's an 8, so you might be looking at a push, but I'd say I'm probably out on that. I do like the Yankees under, though, but I'll tell you one underdog I'm tempted by, and it actually segues into what AJS was talking about in the comment section. I'm not laying 235 with the Brewers. You just got swept by the Pirates. Why the hell would I lay 235?
Can you tell me what the rationale was behind trading Josh Hader?
If you're going to trade him, can you at least get something valuable in return? I understand that you got a top whatever prospect,
right?
But you got Rogers, who's been a mess, and you traded for Lamet. And I was on a podcast right around the trade deadline, and I talked about it. And I said Lamet's a pitcher who has been good at times, but he's injured all the time, and the Brewers DFA'd him a day later.
What? Yeah, that's one of the most bizarre things I ever saw in my life, where you trade a top 3 closer in baseball, and you get a guy, and
what you get though? You got a struggling closer and like 1 or 2 decent prospects. Like that's all you could get for Hader.
Yeah, they got the Royals got, I thought, a similar haul for a couple of the pieces for Benintendi. And I think you can argue that Josh Hader is a lot more valuable. And of course, you saw the Brewers come in and puke it away yesterday, giving up first pitch double to tie it, and next batter home run to win it. So
that was a couple days ago. They lost in a wild pitch yesterday.
That's right. It was the wild pitch yesterday. It was the game before I was talking about.
If you want a decent future bet, by the way, the Brewers are still favored to win the NL Central. The Cardinals are like plus 110. They're tied in the standings.
Yeah.
Now you can argue that the Cardinals might lose a couple games to the Yankees, and the Brewers might sweep the Reds, and you might be a couple games behind, but the Cardinals are going for it. Like the Brewers, I don't know how, if you're a member of that team, you trade away your star closer, you don't buy anything, and you say, we're going for it. Yeah. That's got to mess with morale, don't you think?
Do you think the GM survives the season if they don't win the division?
I think the answer is yes, because I'm assuming the GM was probably told by the owners, like, we might have to start doing something. Because I doubt the GM in first place in a very winnable division, because that division sucks.
Oh, horribly.
I highly doubt the GM went rogue and said, listen, we're going to blow up our bullpen. I think the owner saw Hader's contract a year or 2 down the road and said, I don't want to pay him, get rid of him. So do I think he's safe? Yeah. I think the Brewers have a boys club going on where the GM was listening to the owner and said, all right, I'll do this, but you secure my job for a couple years. You?
Scandalous. Absolutely scandalous. And the Cardinals, we've talked about this team before when you and I were doing our show.
They always find a way.
You get this picture. I always get the picture of like the cartoon melee where all the dust is flying and everybody's fighting, and at the end everybody's on the ground and there stand the Cardinals.
The Cardinals are just at the bar drinking a beer at the end while everyone else is killing each other in the Western movie. I mean, that's what the Cardinals do, but they're going to find a way to survive. They had a very nice doubleheader sweep yesterday. I know that they should sweep the Cubs, but they were behind for pretty much the entirety of Game 1. But the Cardinals have plus money to win the division. I think they will be around there, and the Brewers are probably going to struggle. But I don't want to lay 235. I get they're at home. The Reds aren't good. I'm aware of that. 235, they just got swept by the Pirates.
Can't do it. No.
I can't lay that. So for me, it's either Reds money line or Reds plus 1.5. But I want nothing to do with the Brewers in that matchup. Other than that, though, you have anything else that you want to add, or should we wrap it up?
I'm anxious to see how Tyler Mahle goes in Minnesota after coming over, making what his first start, right?
Yes, it's his first start with the Twins.
Yep, I'll be interested to see him. I think Barrios really has to be a more valuable member of that rotation for Toronto to want to make any kind of noise in the playoffs.
The record with him is good, but his numbers aren't that impressive.
Yeah, they're 16-5 in his starts, and they've won his last 6, and he's just been
meh,
awful. Yeah, we talk about pitchers all the time where they don't score runs and he has really bad luck. Well, there's a guy on the other side that every time he goes out there and takes the mound, they put 6 runs on the board. So, yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm looking at, as far as the underdogs go, looking at KC. I don't hate Chicago on the run line with Dylan Cease on the mound, but I have to tell you that this is a Texas team that just burns me every time I fade them. So on paper, I think the White Sox is a good play there against Otto. Cease has been outstanding. You get a little run line play, probably in the neighborhood of even money. I don't hate that.
First 5 run line, if you want to lay the half, at probably like minus 130, minus 135, give or take.
Yeah, I think probably my favorite run line play of the night is going to be on Houston over Cleveland, as Valdez goes against McCarty Kirk.
Who? Yeah. The guy making his debut.
He's going to be making his first start. He hasn't been great coming out of the he's made 2 starts.
Which pitcher do you have listed?
I've got McCarty Kirk.
I thought it was a debut guy. Let me see who I got here. I got Gaddis.
Oh, okay.
I see Hunter Gaddis, who has no stats. So
okay, fantastic. You still got it minus 200. The odds are the same.
Yeah, odds are the same.
Okay.
Unless Gaddis is going to be some type of opener, or maybe they're using your guy as an opener, and he's going to be the main guy. But
when I click on it, I was looking at StatFox again. On the main page, they've got McCarty Kirk. Once you click on it, it's Gaddis. So.
Okay, so Gaddis is pitching. He has no stats. I'll still take Valdez, but I was looking at another player prop. This one's a little bit more dangerous, but it's kind of funny. Dylan Cease taking on the Rangers. The Rangers' lifetime are 2 for 23 against him. Adolis Garcia, no hit, is plus 105. He's been awful for the last couple of times against Cease with 5 strikeouts. So no hit is plus 105. He's never touched the ball.
Nice.
So that's an option for you too. My favorite player prop, though, has to be Torres. Plus 185. He's 0 for his last 18.
Love that.
That's just good value. But
finally, I've got a big game for my future hopes tonight as Gonsolin takes on the San Diego Padres. Of course, I've got the 24-1 shot on Gonsolin. I need him to have no more bad starts, so he's going to have to step up.
I think you're dead, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Alcantara.
Alcantara's just been. I mean,
he's gonna. I'm hoping at this point you got to hope he either falls off the cliff or has some sort of an injury. And I don't. I'm not wishing an injury on anybody, but a little twinge in the ankle, a little sprained ankle that keeps him out of 2 or 3 starts. It wouldn't be the end of the world for me.
I am looking at the over in that Dodgers game. I know it's going to kill your heart because, of course, you're 24-1. But do you trust either pitcher against these offenses in this matchup? Because Gonsolin has really struggled for the last month, and Minaya, he's always Jekyll and Hyde type of pitcher. So I see 2 very good lineups that have been performing pretty well lately. I kind of lean to the over there.
Yeah, Padres scored 22 runs in the 2 games prior to yesterday, and then they came in and were baffled by Freeland. So I'm not sure what to make of that offense. Obviously, on paper, they're fantastic. Probably one of the best offenses in the majors right now. I want to see how long it takes them to gel. I don't really want to get involved in the total there, even though Gonsolin has certainly taken a step back. He's given up 12 earned over his last 3 starts. So that covers 16 innings. So that's not fantastic as far as the trend goes. So yeah,
it's either over or pass for me. I'm not taking the under with those pitchers.
No, you can't take the under there. The only thing that troubles me, of course, it's in LA. It's a night game. You got the marine layer, but they're gonna have to bop the ball, and it very well could happen. So
the wind is blowing out to right field. So Soto and company, couple powerful left-handed bats. Freeland, not Freeland, Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of guys there could hit a couple of home runs. So we'll see. But anything else, or is that it?
I think that's it. I think we covered it. Did we get to every game the guys everybody asked about?
I believe so. I think we did. Yeah. Once again, Scott, thanks for coming on at the last minute. Chris, I'm assuming you can't listen to this because your Wi-Fi's not working, but I'll see you on Monday. And besides that, Scott, since you are still working on the project, let the people know where they could find you in the meantime.
Well, I'm still doing my daily plays. I'm doing the premium plays, doing my best bet. We've always got those on sale as well. And I'm doing kind of a fun thing on my video. I'm keeping track of everybody's record. Everybody makes their one best pick. Whoever has the best record at the end of the week gets to come on and do a special video with me. And we did it for the first time last week.
When's the next episode of that?
That'll be it's for the we tape it on Monday, so it will be for the Tuesday games. It'll be up on. I usually put it up on like Monday night. So that's been a lot of fun. So check me out there. I appreciate everybody in the comment section that was happy to see us back together and said hello. I don't want to just run through everybody, but there was a lot, and it's good to see everybody again. I do miss doing this, Scott. I really do. I know that we talked about. It wasn't really something that I came to them and said, "Hey, I'd like to do this." The project just kind of landed in their lap, and it
just so happened to align with some of your previous desires.
Right, exactly. So it's a lot of fun, but I do miss doing what we did before. So maybe you and we talked about it. Maybe I'll have to see what my schedule looks like, but maybe we can get together and do a football show. We'll see.
We'll see. But either way, I did realize though before we officially wrap up, I forgot to talk about the people that paid to get mentioned on the show. We got BetMGM. They got a great deal for you if you're a first-time user of their app or website. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. All the information is in the show box. Check the age limits, and as always, bet responsibly. But other than that, though, once again, thanks, Scott, for coming on.
Anytime.
And I'm looking forward to a very profitable either Friday or weekend, all the above, hopefully. But we'll be back once again on Monday with parlays, assuming Chris's Wi-Fi actually works. Take care, everybody.
Take care.